Hi everyone, welcome to Once Upon a Wednesday. I'm Miss Dianne from the Kinsman Free Public Library. So each week we'll be exploring a different theme. This week's theme is Knights, Princesses, and Princes. The story that I'm going to read to you today is called The Princess Knight by Cornelia Funk, illustrations by Kirsten Meyer. King Wilfred the Worthy had 3 sons. He brought them up just as his father had brought him up, and they were taught all things he had been taught. He wanted them to be better than his best knights. They learned riding and jousting, fighting with swords, and good table manners too. They learned how to stride around proudly and how to shout very loudly. And perhaps most important for princes, they learned how to give orders to the nursemaids, their servants, their dogs, and their horses. Then Queen Violetta had a daughter, but the queen died when the baby was born, so the little girl was called Violetta. No one would dare tell the king how to do anything, especially how to raise his little girl, so he decided to teach her the same lessons he had taught his sons. Even though she was small, she could hardly lift a sword at all. Her brothers teased her and called her names. Itsy bitsy little Vi, little girl can't hurt a fly. And they would boast that they were so strong, even the most spirited horse would obey them. Then they'd strike the heads off practice dummies so hard the heads would fly right over the castle walls. And they would laugh and laugh at their little sister as she struggled to mount the horse in very heavy armor, as if it were the funniest thing they had ever seen. Not very nice brothers. "Oh, Emma," said Violetta to her nursemaid one evening, while Emma soothed the little girl's bruises, "I'll never be as strong as my brothers." "Not as strong, maybe, but you are 3 times as clever," said Emma sensibly. "Why not ask your father to stop teaching you all this silly fighting and to let you learn something else instead? Embroidery, perhaps, or weaving, or playing the flute, something useful, you know." But Violetta shook her head. No, that would only make my brothers laugh louder." So Emma said no more, for she knew the princess was more determined than all 3 princes together. From that night on, Violetta slipped out of the castle in secret while the rose gardener's son kept watch for her. She started to practice all the things her brothers could already do so much better. Violetta practiced in her own way, without shouting and without using spurs on the horses. Indeed, she was very quiet about it, as quiet as the night itself. So while her brothers grew as tall and strong as King Wilfred's knights, Violetta, who stayed quite small, got better at fighting and riding every day, and her father's horses loved to carry her on their backs. Violetta became so nimble and quick that when her 3 brothers practiced jousting with her, their spears and swords just hit the empty air. And the princes soon stopped laughing at her, and they stopped calling her Itsy Bitsy Little Vi. Then came the day before Violetta's 16th birthday, and the king asked to see her. "Violetta," said King Wilfred, "I'm going to hold a jousting tournament in your honor of your birthday. The victory prize will be the bravest knights in the land flocking to the castle." "What will that prize be, father?" asked Violetta, wondering which horse she would ride, which of her suits of armor would be lightest, and which plume she would wear in her helmet. "Well, the prize," said King Wilfred, "will be your hand in marriage. So put on your finest gown and practice your prettiest smile." Violetta turned as red as the roses beside the castle moat. "What?" she cried. "You want me to marry some dimwit in a tin suit? Just look at your own knights. They whip their horses and they can't even write their own names." Her father was so angry that he locked Violetta up in the castle tower all by herself. Not until the moon was shining high in the sky did the king tell Violetta's youngest brother to let her out. "Stop crying, little sister," said Violetta's brother. I'll make sure to win the tournament myself. You certainly can't marry me. But Violetta shook her head, wiped her eyes on the hem of her dress. Thank you, she said, but I think I'd better just see to it myself. The next day, the field behind the castle was crowded with knights who had come to fight in the tournament. King Wilfred sat down to watch. Little did he know that it wasn't Violetta who sat beside him, it was her nursemaid Emma. She wore Violetta's best dress and veil over her face. The real Violetta had put on her blackest armor and saddled her favorite horse. She rode into the arena with the other knights and gave her title as Sir No Name. The trumpet sounded. The tournament to win the prince's hand had begun. Knight after knight rode into the arena. Sigurd the strong, Harold the hardy, Percy the pitiless, but Sir No Name defeated them all. He even knocked the king's sons off their horses and into the dust. By the end, there was no one left who was willing to fight, and Sir No Name rode over to the king to receive the victory prize. Boy, isn't he going to be surprised. Where do you come from, Sir No Name? Asked the king. You have brought honor to your family, and my daughter should think herself lucky to take your hand in marriage. Oh, I don't think so, Sir No Name replied, raising his helmet. Hello, father, said Violetta. What's the prize for a princess knight? And for the first time in his life, her father, the king, was speechless. But proud. Violetta turned to the defeated knights, sitting battered and bruised on their horses. Very well, she said, I shall choose my own prize. I hereby proclaim that no one will ever win Prince Violetta's hand in marriage without first defeating Sir No Name. Then she turned on her horse and rode away, far, far away. And she didn't return for a year and a day. And when she did, why, her father, King Wilfred the Worthy, gave her a horse as black as armor. He was so proud of her, and nobody, not even her brothers, challenged the princess ever again. And who did she end up marrying? Well, if you must know, many years later, she married the rose gardener's son, and they lived happily ever after. That is the story of the Princess Knight. Not your typical prince story, so girls can be knights too, I guess. So there are many stories about castles and knights and princesses, and there are many up here that we have at the library that you can come check out. There's the Paper Bag Princess. You wouldn't want to be a medieval knight. A book about castles, Princess Academy, The Tale of Despereaux, The Wall in the Middle of the Book, The Dragon and the Nimblesome Knight, and Redwall. So all different types of books for all types of reading styles. So the last book I want to share with you today is called The Storybook Knight by Helen Doherty and Thomas Doherty. This book is illustrated by them also. So this is Leo. Leo is a gentle knight in thought, in word, and deed. While other knights like fighting, guess what Leo likes to do? He likes to sit and read, especially in trees. He was kind to every creature. He wouldn't hurt a fly. When Mom and Dad said knights must fight, he couldn't quite see why. So one morning, Leo's parents said they'd like to have a chat. There was nothing wrong with reading, but he couldn't just do that. They'd seen an ad that morning in their favorite magazine. A dragon needed taming. Leo wasn't very keen. Nonsense, you'll enjoy it. It'll stop you getting bored. In case the dragon's scary, here's a brand new shield and a sword. Leo packed some sandwiches and lots of books, of course. Then with a sigh, he saddled up old Ned, his faithful horse. He hadn't traveled far, though the sun had risen high, when suddenly a fearsome creature swooped down from the sky. It had a lion's body, but it had an eagle's wings. A griffin, marveled Leo, who had read about such things. Come on, snarled the griffin. I dare you to fight. I'd rather not, said Leo. It wouldn't be quite right. I've got my brand new sword with me, so I'd be bound to win it. But how about a story with some pictures of you in it? Yes, please, the griffin nodded. He was really rather vain. So Leo read a book to him, once, twice, and then again. It's yours to keep, said Leo as he clambered back on Ned. Oh, thank you, cried the griffin, and he bowed his noble head. So Leo rode for hours, though the heat was quite extreme. Then stopped to have his picnic by a welcome mountain stream. Who dares to trespass on my bridge? Inquired a hungry troll. It's only me, said Leo. Would you like to share my roll? The troll just laughed. No thanks, he growled. I think I'll just eat you. But Leo said, my armor's pretty difficult to chew. Have you ever tried to chew on metal? It's not very easy. I've got a brilliant book, though, if you'll hang on just a minute. It's full of juicy goats, and look, it's even got you in it. That sounds good, the troll replied. His hunger put on hold, he let Leo read the story with some changes, truth be told. It's yours to keep, said Leo as he clambered back on Ned. Oh, thank you, cried the grateful troll and bowed his heavy head. Leo kept on riding through the long, hot afternoon. At last he came upon a town as empty as the moon. The leaves were burnt on every tree, the grass and flowers too. He'd seen some messy streets before, but this was something new. Faces peered from windows. Folks too scared to go outside, he trotted bravely onward. Hey, watch out! The people cried. For what he saw around the corner sent him shaking in his shoes. The most enormous dragon who'd just woken from a snooze. The dragon raised his eyebrows. Not another pesky knight. Don't worry, Leo told him. I haven't come to fight. I've got the most amazing book with loads of dragons in it. But it's going in the trash unless you clean up right this minute. Wow, is the dragon actually going to listen to Leo and clean up? Oh, don't do that, the dragon replied. I'll clean it up right now, but I'm really bad at tidying. Perhaps you'll show me how? So Leo taught the dragon how to shovel, scoop, and clear. And one by one, the townsfolk all began to lose their fear. Now can I have my story? Begged the dragon on his knees. So Leo read the book 6 times, because you know dragons are hard to please. It's yours to keep, said Leo as he clambered back on Ned. Oh, thank you, cried the dragon as he bowed his scaly head. When Leo reached his home at last, the cheers were long and loud. His parents hugged him tight. Well done, you've made us proud. Now Leo is a hero. His parents have agreed. He doesn't have to fight at all if he's just left in peace to read. So of course there are all different kinds of knights. This was the story of the Storybook Knight. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned and we'll teach you how to make a catapult and how to decorate your shield. For today's craft, we'll be making a catapult. A catapult is a weapon that was used in the Middle Ages and ancient times when armies were trying to get inside castles and take them over. It's a way that they could propel large, heavy stones through the air at the castles from a great distance that helped them get closer. They're usually made out of wood, and there's many different types of catapults, which you can come to the library and check out a few books on how to make them. So if you would like to participate in today's craft and you did not pick up a summer reading packet, the items you will need are 10 popsicle sticks, 5 rubber bands, 1 plastic spoon, and either a pom-pom or marshmallow, and it doesn't matter what size they are. So you will begin by stacking 8 popsicle sticks together. And they're a little slippery, so it can take a minute to get them stacked. And you're going to wrap the rubber band around each end. So I've placed the rubber band on the end. I'm going to twist it and make an X like so, and loop it over the top, and keep doing that until it's nice and secure. Those aren't going to fall apart if I drop them on the floor. And you'll take another rubber band and do the same thing to the other side. The next step is to take your plastic spoon and a popsicle stick, and you're going to rubber band them together. Then take your last popsicle stick and place it underneath, and rubber band just the end. Again, you want it nice and secure so the spoon's not going to fall off and the popsicle sticks are not going to fall off. The next thing you're going to do is pull the 2 popsicle sticks slightly apart. Then place the larger stack of popsicle sticks in between, and then rubber band the stack of popsicle sticks to the upper popsicle stick that's holding the spoon. So you'll have to wrap it around these 2 popsicle sticks and a set of these popsicle sticks. This part is kind of tricky. If you don't get the rubber band to secure these 2 together, it's okay. You can just set it on the table and hold it with your hand. It will work the same way. The next thing you're going to do is place your pom-pom or marshmallow onto the spoon. And you're going to hold the base of your catapult with one hand and use the other hand to pull down the spoon slowly, and then release the spoon and it launches your pom-pom into the air. So these can be a lot of fun. You can practice seeing how far you can get your pom-pom to go. You can try different size pom-poms, or marshmallows are a little bit heavier sometimes than a pom-pom. You can see which one goes further. You can build a castle out of paper towel tubes or toilet paper rolls, and then launch the pom-poms at the castle. You can see how many pom-poms make it inside. If you had something a little heavier, you can see if you knock down the towers. So it's a lot of fun just to experiment and see how far you can make these go. So our next craft, inside your summer reading packet, you should have received a template that looks like a shield. So a shield is something a knight would use to protect himself, and on the outside of the shield there would be images or a word or phrase that personalize that shield to the knight. You can know what family he belongs to, you know what his name is, or maybe what he stands for. So this one I colored with a yellow marker and wrote, "Imagine your story inside." and that is our theme for summer reading. The second one is a little more detailed. I added a dragon, a beanstalk up the middle, the letters for Kinsman Free Public Library with a lightning bolt to go through for Harry Potter, a book, and then stars and moons. But you can decorate yours any way you want and bring it into the library, and we'll put them up for everyone to see. Thank you for joining us today for Once Upon a Wednesday. We'll see you next time.